He's just at the foot of my bed, watching me as I lay awake with that malicious smile. He whispers, "Go to sleep," then slowly descends down, keeping his eyes locked on mine. I'm too afraid to look away until he's finally out of my sight. I've never been so frightened. I hold my breath, I try not to move. He can be on any side of my bed, but if I truly had to guess, I'd guess he's under it. I just have to stay alert the whole night and I can't fall asleep, no matter how exhausted I am. If I try to jump off my bed, I wonder if I can make it. The alarm rings out and I stir. I'm confused. What happened last night? Then it hits me. I fell asleep. I sit up abruptly. His eyes are the last thing I'll ever see. There was a couple in Scotland who had just moved into an old castle. It wasn't long before they decided to empty out the wine cellar. They found a large barrel of brandy. They tried moving it and even got a few friends to help, but they couldn't budget. In the end, they decided to have a housewarming party and give glasses of brandy out to empty the barrel and make it easier to move. A few days after the party, they went into the cellar and tried to move the barrel again. It still wouldn't move. The husband got a saw in order to cut it into smaller pieces, and they cut off the top of the barrel. Inside was a dead body, and they had drank the brandy that had preserved it. You were out of town for the weekend. When you came back to your apartment, your mailbox was stuffed full, at least 30 letters. Letters with no return address. Several of them felt soggy and heavy, as though they were recently wet, or perhaps contained a liquid. All of the letters have your name and address written on them, and many of them had your name scratched all over them in red. They don't smell nice. They smell like rotting meat and old garbage, and you're reluctant to take them back to your room, but the curiosity gets the best of you. You manage to cart them all back to your room. You dump them in your kitchenette sink because you don't want them smelling up the rest of the apartment. You grab one that doesn't seem damp and isn't covered with writing and open it up. There's pictures inside. Pictures of people you don't know with their eyes torn out, teeth missing, unhinged jaws hanging open, throats ripped out. You're horrified, and yet you can't help but wonder what's in the rest of the letters. You open more and more to discover increasingly gruesome photos of dead people, piles of bodies with limbs missing, displayed open corpses on operating tables with their vital organs removed, hang bodies that have been gutted and bled dry. Some of the soggy letters had blood and other fluids in them. The more letters you open, the more you notice that not all the people are strangers. Some of them were people you see at work. Others people you went to high school with. By the time you get to the last few letters, the pictures of the mutilated bodies of your close friends and family members. Eventually, you reach the last letter. You don't want to know what's in it, but it's not like you have a choice now. You peel the letter open, and it's a picture of yourself. Not dead, eyes intact, no limbs missing. It's a picture of you entering your apartment building. One cold winter night, 16-year-old Kelly Sanders was home alone, as her parents had gone out to a dinner party at a friend's house. It had been snowing all afternoon, but had just recently stopped. After studying for a while, she decided to relax a little. After all, she did have the house to herself. She makes some popcorn, gets a nice warm and fuzzy blanket, and snuggles under it to watch one of her favorite movies. In their lounge room, the television is positioned a few feet in front of the glass sliding door that leads to the patio and backyard. By midnight, Kelly's parents are still not home. She begins to feel uneasy, but refuses to call them, for risk of sounding like she couldn't take care of herself. Suddenly, her eye catches a glint of light from behind the TV, and right there, just outside the glass door, was a crazy-eyed man, grinning maliciously at her, and holding a long, narrow blade in his left hand. Terrified, the girl panics, pulls the blanket up over her head, and grabs the cordless phone by her side. Kelly calls the police, and, as luck would have it, there was a patrol car less than a block from her house. In a matter of seconds, 2 officers are on the scene, and Kelly tells them about the armed man staring through the glass. The first officer opens the sliding door and looks around the area. After a few moments, she turns and explains to Kelly that there couldn't have been anyone standing out there, as there would have been footprints in the snow. The second officer tells her that she is probably just tired, and her imagination was playing tricks on her. He beckoned at the TV, where the horror movie she'd been watching was still playing. Stuff like that didn't help matters either, he said, smiling. Kelly smiled too, more at her immaturity than the officer's remark, though. She was still a little shaken. As the police are about to leave, the male officer stops and looks behind the sofa that Kelly had been sitting on. His jaw drops and eyes widen in shock. Kelly and the other officer notice his reaction and follow his gaze. They both gasped. There were wet footprints and a discarded knife on the carpet behind the couch. Kelly hadn't seen the man outside the door. She had seen his reflection when he was standing behind her.
If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you'd like to, you can follow me at Twitter. The handle is @FuzzyPantaloons, and I'll see you all next time.